Hey, good morning. Are any of you that are watching here today uh, wondering how you can have a happier life? Is there anybody here watching today that just wonders, what do I have to do in this old world in order to have more joy, in order to have more happiness, in order to not be stressed and worried and just in this state of mind of frustration? Is there anybody here watching today that, you know, is really, if they're honest with themselves, is not happy? And the reason that I ask folks is I'm going to go over a few things today that I think are important for all of us to hear and to remember when it comes to being happy on this old earth. Because when it really comes down to it, folks, isn't that what it's all about? Like, let me ask you a question, guys. Is somebody who is wealthy in money but miserable because they're worried about losing their money, and miserable because maybe what they sacrificed in order to earn that money, maybe they lost their family, maybe they lost their spouse couldn't stick around with them because they were just so focused on the success and the money that they lost their family. Maybe they are, you know maybe they're dishonest. Maybe they came across their money in ways that hurt other people. So is that person who's made it in what most of our eyes might be like financially, they are successful, but they're really unhappy and miserable? Or would you rather be the person that just has, a normal everyday 9 to 5, but is extremely content and happy in life? Somebody that has an amazing relationship with their spouse and kids and that has a lot of fun. Yeah, they're working 40 or 50 hours a week, grinding at their job, but they do something for their work that they love. Which person would you rather be? Well, guys, I hope that you would rather be the person of average means that's really happy and content and living an incredible life, versus the person that's managed to have some amazing financial success, but is miserable and, and is thinking about harming themselves and all sorts of, horrible things that are going on in their life. And the good news, folks, is I'm not here to tell you that you have to have one or the other. What I believe, and what I'm going to hopefully teach a little bit about today, is the ability to do both. See, John 10:10 says, "The thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." So, folks, the God that put us on this earth, the God that loves you more than your own mother and father even love you, he put you on this earth. What was it again? Let me read this again. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. So, folks, we were not meant to be put on this earth and just have a constant struggle, Lord, to just be barely existing and to always be worried about our next meal and so on and so forth, folks. We are here to have life and have it abundantly. And when Jesus talks about having life abundantly, he's talking about all areas of the Bible. If there's anybody here that's a Christian or kind of a scholar of the Bible, and you've been taught that being wealthy is a bad thing, that being wealthy isn't biblical, that if you decide that you want to give your life to Christ and you want to be, a Christian, that in order to be a good Christian, you have to be poor and struggle financially, I'm telling you, you've been lied to. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that it is honorable that you have to be poor in order to be a good Christian. There's many of God's people that were incredible people for the kingdom of heaven that also were very, very abundant. So you don't have to choose between the two. So if you guys would do me a favor so that I have a little bit more of an idea of who I'm talking to, will you do me a favor and throw a 1 in the chat if you are an entrepreneur? So if you own a business currently of your own, or if you want to own your own business, can you throw a 1 in the chat? If you're a person that is really content with your career and you just want to continue working, the job that you have, or, your paycheck, and that's the way that you want to go, will you throw a 2 in the chat for me? There is no right or wrong. I'm just kind of curious, like who are my entrepreneurs here? People that either own a business already, or are in some type of an industry where you're responsible for your income, like if you are a real estate agent or a mortgage broker or something along those lines. I would say that you kind of own your own business. And, and if you're working at more of a, just a traditional job where you're working in an office as a manager, or, a secretary, or, working for a bigger corporation where you have a desk and a cubicle and you're just kind of working and doing what you're doing, I'm, kind of curious. So Collective Growth Club owns his own business. Let go XRP. Let's go XRP owns his own business. Roger the Alien owns his own business. Great. So I appreciate you guys, for being here. And all of you that don't own your own business, man, sometimes I envy you. I was just thinking about this over the weekend, that in some ways, had I not taken this non-traditional path, I would have probably saved myself a lot of stress, a lot of things that entrepreneurs go through on this journey to success. Because the fact of the matter is, guys, both ways will lead you to financial success if you let them. On this crazy journey of cryptocurrency investing, in some ways, I almost think that the person that has the steady job, the steady paycheck, that just goes to work and comes home, almost has an advantage. And I'll tell you why. It's because you don't have to use up a whole lot of bandwidth on the job. Most of us, if you've been working a job for 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, it doesn't take any conscious effort for the most part. A lot of times you're able to do your job almost in your sleep. And what's good about that is that you don't have to put a whole lot of mental energy into that job. And then when you get home from work, you can put your mental energy into designing and architecting the life of your dreams. And you also have a steady paycheck. So if you can be good with your finances, you can put a steady stream of money into your asset column and build up a crypto portfolio, where sometimes those of us that are on this entrepreneurial journey, we have a bad month or two where we actually made less than we need to live. And so we're in a position where we're spending assets. If I had $1 for every time I had a bill come due and I had to go sell a little bit of my crypto portfolio to cover it, man, I'd be wealthy. I'd be rich. There's been a lot of times where I've had to sell some crypto that I didn't really want to sell in order to, keep myself afloat on this entrepreneurial journey. So I think it's awesome for both people. But I will say, if you do have that traditional, mindset where you're working for a paycheck, you want to be very, very careful that you don't get into a rut where you're spending every dollar and you don't have enough money coming in to invest and create some financial success. So real quick here, guys, I'm going to take a quick second. I'm not apologizing, but just give me a quick second here. It's kind of, today I'm a little bit discombobulated. I feel like my thoughts are going in several different directions. I thought I had a topic that I kind of wanted to talk about, and I'm getting a little bit off pace. So just real quick, dear Father in heaven, Lord, just use me today. Help me to speak to the people that are listening, Lord. Please help me to just be a vessel for what it is that you would like them to hear, God. So please help me to not give them my ideas, Lord. Please help me to give them your ideas and speak through me to them and just use me as a vessel, Lord. We thank you. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Guys, I just want to be a conduit. I want to speak life into your lives. I want to help you guys to have an abundant life, whatever that looks like for you. It's going to be different. I don't believe that every single person on this planet is destined to create massive wealth. I think that there's a lot of people that aren't going to create massive wealth, but they're going to do massive things for the kingdom of God in other areas. Now, this is a cryptocurrency investing channel. And so I'm of the opinion that a lot of you that are probably here watching this, God's got you here for a reason. And one of those reasons is very likely to create some freedom in your life so that you have the ability to do what God has really called you to do. Like, there's a missions trip coming up in Mexico here later in July. I think it's July 17th, 18th, 20th, somewhere around there. And for this particular missions trip, I'm not going on it. And part of the reason is even though it's a missions trip, it costs some pretty good money in order to go on it, plus the time away from work, the time traveling because it's in Tijuana, Mexico. All in all, with everything that's going on in my life, it's not a trip that I can take. But what God has spoke to me is that I'm supposed to continue on this path, and he wants me to create enough wealth and enough freedom that I can go on the next one. And that when he calls me to go on a missions trip, whether that be in Africa or in Mexico or wherever in the world that he takes me, that he wants me to have the ability to be able to do that. Is there anybody here that would love to be able to go on missions trips, but financially you're just not able to? Like, in order to go, you got to have your financial situation right? Come on, guys, get out from underneath here. Come on, go. You got to have your finances right in order to go on missions trip. It kind of reminds me, like in the airplane where they talk about if the airplane starts to lose pressurization inside the cabin, that the oxygen mask is going to fall down, and that you're supposed to put your own oxygen mask on first before you try to help the person sitting next to you. And I think that God is speaking to us today. For those of us that are watching this today, I think God is telling us, hey, let's get your oxygen mask on and secured properly. Let's get the wealth and the finances in your life taken care of so that you can pour out into other people. It's like this cup of coffee here. This cup of coffee is not quite half empty. It's going to be half empty here real quick because I ain't messing around today. This is my medicine. But let me ask you a question. If this is your financial life, how much are you able to help other people? And the answer is a little bit, but one of the things that we all know about a cup like this is when it gets empty, there's nothing there. You want your cup to be overflowing. Now, if I just had a steady stream of coffee pouring into this cup, when this cup got full and it started to spill over the edges, I would have excess and I would be able to have the other people around me come and partake in some of the abundance that I have created. And so, guys, let us focus. There is a season in life where it is okay to focus on you, where it's okay to focus on getting your situation squared around. Same thing with relationships and anything that you want in life. How are you going to help people have a better marriage if your marriage is rocky and built on quicksand and on life support? So rather than go out and try to counsel other people on how to have a good marriage, I would say it would be very important and it would be biblical and God would be okay with you focusing on your marriage, making sure that your marriage is the best that it can absolutely be before you go out and try to help other people have better marriages. Well, it's the same thing financially, guys. If you are financially strapped and trying to figure out where the money is going to come from for the bills that are getting ready to do, this is one, like it's June 30th. This is one of those fun times of the month. So if you're sitting here at the end of the month and you've got a mortgage payment due, you've got rent due, you've got a car payment due, you got car insurance due, if you've got all your bills coming due here over the next few days, and you're not quite sure exactly how you're going to pay them, or you're not exactly sure how you're going to take advantage of this incredible opportunity in the cryptocurrency market, let's work on getting that handled. And so on that note, folks, let me see here. Still can't move on how the way you opened the card. Oh, hey. Still can't move on how you open the card. Yeah, man. So guys, I'm sorry, I'm off track again already, but I did a video. I think it got published 2 days ago on opening up some trading cards for cardsmiths, and I was opening them with my teeth. And after the video was over, the guy that Chaz, the guy that I was interviewing, is like, "Man, you are going to get blasted in this video. You're going to get blasted in the chat for how you open those cards, because it's so easy when you're opening them to maybe ruin one." And can you just imagine getting some type of a rare trading card that would be worth a bunch of money, and instead it's only worth a fraction because you managed to nick it with your tooth or do something that caused it damage? So I'll get better, folks. I'll get better. That's funny, but glad to have you here, man. I hope that hope you enjoyed that video, and I'm hoping that they're going to be sending me out some more stuff to be able to open here live on the live streams here pretty soon, man. Yeah, see, like I open a ton of stuff with my teeth. It's like, the cheese, when you get cheese or like different things that you're taking out of the refrigerator, you're trying to break them open. I use my teeth for a ton of that stuff. So it's just fairly normal, but I guess there's actually a method to the madness, and I'm gonna learn it. But what I want to do here real quick, folks, I want to go over and I want to share something here with you guys. So if we can agree that today's topic is going to be creating a financial windfall in our life so that we have the ability to help other people that we love and cherish and want to be a part of, then I think it's important, guys, to talk about how can you do that. And I believe that there are a lot of good teachers out there. So I want to share this gentleman right here with you, Myron Golden. The video that he put out today is called The Fastest Path to Your $1 Million. And I'm going to go ahead and take this because I'm abundant. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that will never, ever talk about another YouTuber, that will never recommend another YouTuber. You'll never hear them send their audience to another person. But I want you guys to know that this gentleman right here, especially if you're a man or woman of faith, this is an incredible man that is living out his purpose here on this earth according to God's assignment for his life. And he's very eloquent and well-spoken. The way that he presents his messages is second to none. And you know what, folks? That's why, look here, if you can see, that's why he's got 1.12 million subscribers. This guy is the real deal. He has these 45-minute long messages just about, well, not just about, every single Monday. And the one today that you can see, I listened to some of it this morning while I was getting my coffee. The fastest path to your first $1 million. And his contention is, folks, everybody has the capacity to make $1 million. So even if you're only making $25,000 a year, you're going to make $1 million over 40 years. If you're making $50,000 a year, it's only going to take you $20,000 a year. If you're making $100,000, it only takes you 10 years, and so on and so forth. But his contention is that it's easier to make a lot of money fast than it is to make a little bit of money slow. And when you first hear that, It sounds weird because we've been going through this life grinding. I don't even like that word grinding in a lot of ways, because a lot of people put a spin on the word grinding like it's noble and honorable and it's good. And I'm not saying that working hard is a bad thing, but when you conceptualize the word grinding, it really isn't that positive and uplifting of a word. Grinding, feels like you're getting beaten down, but you're just kind of working anyways. And that you're, once again, grinding is just, to me, it's not an uplifting, positive, spiritual, exciting word. But his point is that when you develop the right skills, folks, it's easier to make a lot of money fast than it is to make money slow. And I can tell you, I've found that out in my life. I've had jobs where I was working for, say, $20 an hour, right? What's $20 an hour times 2,000 hours in a year would be $40,000, right? And then I've had times in my life where through cryptocurrency, I made $40,000 in a day. And it was a lot easier to make $40,000 in one day than it was to make $20 an hour over the course of a whole year. And so one of the things that I want to help you with today is I want to expand your mind. If you're somebody that's worked for an hourly wage, a lot of times you get into this rut where you feel like you are worth like whatever that hourly wage is, whether it's $10 an hour or $100 an hour. If you've been working for several years for around the same amount of money, you've kind of gotten into this mindset that is like the ceiling for you. And what I want to tell you guys is whether you're making 10 an hour or 100 an hour, you can do much, much better than that. If you're making 10 an hour, how can you make 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 an hour? Because for those of you that are making 10 or 15 or 20 an hour, if you could 4 or 5x your income, what would that do to your life? And for some of you higher net individuals, if you're a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, somebody that's already making, $50, $100 an hour, that's great. But if you're making $100 an hour, how could you make $1,000 an hour? And I'm not going to go through all of the strategies, but what I would say is that I think it would behoove all of you guys to listen to this gentleman on Mondays. You don't got to listen to him 10 days a week. Just listen to him on Mondays. And this one right here, this fastest path to your first $1 million, is probably a great place to start. And I'm going to click on his actual just main page here. But you can see there's a lot of different topics here. So last week, why personal growth is the key to professional growth. So, we're always talking here on this channel about personal growth. The other day, I was doing a video. I was doing an interview with another gentleman. And sorry, I'm kind of disorganized here. I want to show you guys a little something. I've kind of shown this to you a little bit before. But I was doing an interview with a guy that really believed in personal development also. And so, I had these books available because I wanted to talk, when this guy brought up personal development, I wanted to show, that I had a little bit of an idea of what he was talking about. So look at this. I'm excited. This is a book that I just bought. Just bought this. I haven't even read it yet. But it is titled, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. Now, that might sound kind of silly, folks, what to say when you talk to yourself. But guys, do you realize that we all talk to ourselves like all day long? We're having this inner dialogue. And do you think it could be important to know what to say when you talk to yourself? In the Bible, let me, I'm not going to pull this up on the screen, but I want to talk about why are words matter in the Bible. see what pops up here. So Jesus taught that what comes out of the mouth reveals what is in the heart. Our words are a reflection of our inner thoughts, desires, and affections. Good people speak good things, while evil people speak evil things. Proverbs 18:21 states, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Guys, Proverbs 18:21 states, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So what to say when you talk to yourself might be an important thing. And so my point is, folks, the statistic is pretty crazy, but we all spend our childhood learning how to read. And then 99% of adults get to be, out of high school, out of college, and then they never read another book again. So what good does it do you to be literate if you never read and feed your mind? But anyways, so I got that book. I want to show them this one, Slight Edge. The Slight Edge. The thing that I love about it says turning simple disciplines into massive success. The Slight Edge. And I don't know if I can show this diagram or not, but I think if I can here, let me pull this open real quick and see if I can get to I think it's right here in the beginning of this book. Oh man, I should have been a little bit more ready for this here. I wish I would have had this pull. Here we go. I don't know how well you guys can see this. You see that diagram, and it talks about easy to do and easy not to do. And when you go through life doing the things that are easy to do, eventually you're going to have that upward arrow like we want our cryptocurrency portfolios to be. And if you do the things that are easy not to do, everything seemingly seems the same for a little while, but then you get that downward angle. It's like the person that takes care of their health on a daily basis versus the person that's going and eating, a double cheeseburger every day. Their health will stay the same for a while, but the person that's working out and exercising will start to have that upward arrow. The person that's not working out and exercising and eating crummy will eventually have health problems. So the Slight Edge, ask and it is given. This is another book that really is important as far as programming your subconscious mind. Another book that's been one of my favorites, Atomic Habits. This is a book, that I've read. So all of these books that I'm showing you, I've read, except for the first one that I showed you. This is another one here. Like if you like Kobe Bryant, if you like Michael Jordan, Tim Grover, Relentless, From Good to Great, Unstoppable. This gentleman was Michael Jordan's coach. So, obviously Phil Jackson was Michael Jordan's, NBA basketball coach, but Michael Jordan, the greatest in the world, had a coach that he worked out with, and it was Tim Grover, and Tim Grover talks about the mindset of winning. And then, last but not least, this book right here has probably been responsible for more of the success, happiness, and friendships and financial abundance that I've had in my life than any other book that I've ever read. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And it's not some people hear that title, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and you think, oh, well, you're just learning how to manipulate people. You're just learning how to use people, and you got good at that, so you've had, some success in life. Well, that's not what it is at all, folks. Remember in some of these videos where I talk about actually caring? Like, go try it for yourself today. When you're out and about today and you're at the Starbucks line, or you walk into the 7-Eleven to pay for your gas or your Big Gulp or whatever, you're at a restaurant tonight, actually look the person that you're talking to in the eyes. And when they give you that, hey, how you doing today? I want you to do two things. First, I want you to pick a word that you like, and I want you to use a word that they don't normally hear. So, for the rest of today, maybe even the rest of this week, I want you to do two things for me every time you run into a person out in public. And you have that dialogue where it's like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, hey, how are you doing? This is what I want you to do. Number one, pick a word. So when somebody asks you, hey, how are you doing today? I want you to say, man, I am extraordinary. Man, I am fantastic. Man, I am doing so good that if I was doing any better, there'd have to be two of me. Man, I am having an amazing day today. So the first thing I want you to do is no more of this, well, I'm doing all right, or, I'm okay, I'm doing good. And even good is not that great of a word. Like, I want you to use a word that they don't hear. So no, I'm doing good, and please, please, please don't use this crap like, well, another day above ground, or what's my, I'm not doing too bad. How do you not do too bad? Like, what does that mean? So I want you to do two things for me. Come back next Wednesday and tell me if this was impactful. So number one, when somebody asks you, how are you doing? I want you to tell them and look them right in the eyes, lock eyes with them so they can see that you mean it and say, man, I'm doing extraordinary today. But the second and more important thing, guys, I want you to see the impact that this has on you right now. So those of you that can, I want you to really look at the computer screen. I want you to really look at me right now. Do me a favor. And so somebody has just asked you how you are doing today. So somebody says, hey, Brad, how are you doing? And I want you to see if you can feel the difference. And we're not even in person. So somebody asked me, how are you doing today? I'm at the 7-Eleven counter getting ready to check out. And as I walk up, the person says, hi, how are you today? And I want you to, and I say, pretty good. How are you doing today? And now I want you to hear a second version of that. Hey, how you doing today? Man, I am fantastic, having an extraordinary day. How are you doing today? It's impactful because most of the time when somebody asks you how you're doing, they don't care. They're just saying it because it's something that we say in society. I want you to care. When you ask somebody how they are doing today, I want them to feel love pouring out of you. And I want them to know that you really care. Like this guy at the 7-Eleven, I want him, when you say, man, I'm doing extraordinary today. How are you doing? I want him to know that you care about how he's doing. And then when he gives you his answer, when he says, well, it's been kind of a tough day, or man, I get off work here in a couple of hours. I get off work in a couple of hours and I'll be doing better then. Ask him a quick question. Say like, just say, oh, that's awesome, man. What do you got planned tonight when you get off work? Ask him a question that shows that you're listening to them and that you actually care about what they're doing and really care, guys. I gave that example a few weeks ago. I'm not going to go through the story as quick or as long-winded now, but I'll tell you, I told the story in detail a few weeks ago, but there's a guy, quick version, there's a guy on his way home, and he is basically decided that he's going to end his life. So he's coming home from school. He's like a freshman or a sophomore in high school. He's got every single book that he owns with him. He's decided he cleaned out his locker. He took every single book with him because he's going to end his life. And he drops all of his books because these bullies are picking on him on the way home. They pick on him. They knock all of the books out of his hand. They knock his glasses off of his face. He's sitting there with tears in his eyes. And this second person that was walking up the street runs over and befriends him and helps him and says, hi, how you doing? Well, obviously I know you're not doing great, but here, can I help you with your books? And he walks this young man back to his house with him and helps him carry his books, and they become good friends. And a few years later, at the graduation ceremony, unbeknownst to the guy that helped him, that he saved this guy. This guy gets up and he says, hey, so-and-so, I forget their names, but so-and-so saved my life a couple of years ago. He didn't know it, but I was on my way home planning to end my own life because I just didn't see any reason for living. I cleared out my locker. I took every book with me because I didn't want my parents to have to go through the misery that they were going to be going through and have to go clear out my locker and do all of that stuff. And this one act of random kindness, this one person that saw me, this one person that made me feel like I wasn't invisible, saved my life. Guys, I want you to go through life believing that you have the ability to touch people's lives, that you have the ability to change the trajectory of somebody's life by simply seeing them. Folks, so many of us go through this world invisible. We don't feel like anybody cares. We don't feel like anybody notices us. And it's a miserable, horrible feeling. It's lonely. So much of our interaction on this planet is so superficial, guys. It's so superficial. We've all done it. I'm guilty of it. I still am not perfect. I'll ask somebody, hey, how you doing? Or they'll say, how you doing? And I'll say, you know, I'm doing good. How are you? But I don't care. I'm thinking about the fight that I just had with my wife, or I'm thinking about, what am I going to do, on the YouTube channel later today? What am I going to have for lunch? I'm not present. How many times have some of you been introduced to somebody and they tell you their name and you forget their name within 10 seconds? Guys, I'm just trying to, I want to make you realize how important it is to go through this life with joy. And that's one of the things, when it says here, Jesus taught that what comes out of the mouth reveals what is in the heart. So if somebody asks you how you're doing and you're lying to them when you tell them that you're doing extraordinary, I want you to look at why is that? Why is that? Because I'm here to tell you that external circumstances do not dictate how you are doing. The day that my father passed away from a heart attack a little over 2 years ago, unexpectedly, I saw him on Tuesday, gave him a great big hug and kiss, sent him back to California, talked to him on Wednesday, talked to him on Thursday. Friday morning, he wakes up and goes for his morning walk, and he never comes home. And I got that news at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll never forget. But if somebody would have asked me later on that day when I was out and about how I was doing, I would have told them I was doing amazing. You know why? Because I have the peace of Jesus Christ in my life, guys. I knew where my dad was. And although it sucked for me to believe and know that I was not going to be able to talk to my earthly father here on this planet again, this is a man that I talk to every single day. Like maybe every once in a while, a whole day would go by without talking to my dad, but it was rare. And most of the time we talked 2 or 3 times a day. It drove my wife and my mother-in-law crazy. Not my mother-in-law, my stepmom, his wife. It drove them both crazy. They were both slightly jealous of the relationship that we had. Not horribly jealous, but both of them were a little bit jealous. They're both willing to admit it. They've openly admitted it. But my point is, my hero, the number one person on this planet that had been with me since the day I was born, the guy that caused me to be the man that I am, so that for those of you that love me, you would have loved my dad. Because my dad is the one that I emulated my life after. But my point is, guys, is even on what was the worst day of my life so far, I was still happy. I was still loving life. And yes, I was grieving and I was sad that my father wasn't there, but I didn't use it as a excuse to treat other people poorly. I didn't use it as a reason to feel sorry for myself. I didn't use it as a reason to get depressed and to go through life and woe is me and play the victim. You always have a choice no matter what is going on in your life. And if you are here right now watching this video and you don't think that your life is extraordinary, I challenge you to revisit all of the things that you have to be grateful for. Because if you're watching me today, either A, you have a computer or you have a cell phone. B, you probably got electricity. You're probably living someplace. If you're probably at a home or you're inside of a car watching me here. You probably have a lot more to be grateful for than maybe you're giving life credit for. So I'm here to tell you that you should be able to look people in the eye when you're walking down the street and you meet people. And when they ask you how you're doing, you should be able to tell them, I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing amazing. I'm doing extraordinary. I'm doing incredible. And you shouldn't have to be lying to them about it. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And so, folks, it might sound funny, but one of the quickest ways to $1 million is to change your heart. To change your heart and to start thinking abundance. And abundance starts with being grateful for what you have. Oh, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. I don't know what else to say. I don't want to give you guys too much. It's 47 after. I'm kind of happy. My air conditioning froze up last night. And I was almost gonna cancel my live stream today because it's like 93 degrees in here, but more so because the air conditioning people were going to be coming out and working on my air conditioning, and I was afraid that my dogs were going to be going crazy and that it was going to be a really hard stream to do. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to do the stream. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to get interrupted and that kind of thing. But luckily, you know, God blessed us with a window of an hour here that we got to spend with each other. And so I think I'm going to wrap this up here pretty quickly. I do want to share a couple of things with you real fast. Tomorrow's Trading Tuesday is going to be absolutely amazing, guys. I want to show you, I've got a few new trades. Look at this. I've got 5 active positions here. I've got a position here on Atom, VeChain, Polkadot, HBAR, which is up, 77% here on a $662 trade, a Uniswap trade. I also traded a bunch this weekend, short-term trades, like 100x leverage trades. I will give you guys a disclaimer. You should not trade with 100x leverage. I took some money that I was given by an exchange. It was real money, real trades, but it was money that they gave me to trade with. So it wasn't even technically my bankroll. It was their bankroll. If I lost the money, I didn't owe it to them. And if I made money, I got to keep the profits. But I was doing a bunch of 100x trades, 50x trades, and I learned a lot of stuff. I lost money. I'll tell you that much. The $1,000 that I had to trade with, I think it turned into like 200 or 300. So I lost money, but it's still going to be a fun show tomorrow morning on the Trader Tuesday. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you, the other reason that it's going to be absolutely amazing is because we have a special guest on tomorrow's show. So tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we've got the Crypto Bullseye is going to be on the show with us. This gentleman just had me on his YouTube channel last week. He did an incredible interview with me about the AGAPE token. And so I'm looking forward to having him on my channel. So please come out in full force tomorrow. Go subscribe to his channel. When we do this interview tomorrow, I'll be talking about it some more, but I've got links. I got links here to his Discord group, his YouTube, and we definitely want to support this gentleman. Go out. But he's a trader. He is somebody that knows the charts. So it's going to be a special day tomorrow. We're going to do some live trades, but it's going to be kind of based off of his TA, We're going to go through the charts and have him look at some things, and we're going to do some incredible trades tomorrow. We might do some 50, 100x, short-term stuff. We'll also probably put in another long-term trade or two. I'll show you one of the things, like you can't really see it as much here. Yeah, you kind of can in this chart. So down here when this thing was sitting, no, this is all the way down at 81. Have to almost go out. I wonder, this is further out. Where are we at here? This is still, anyways, this, for the most part, I guess maybe it was way back here. Long story short, I started shorting Aerodrome like around here. And then I shorted it some more here, and I shorted it some more here. And you can see that it just kept going up. And that's one of the reasons I hate shorting. Gosh, I hate shorting. I usually am a guy that longs, but for some reason I really felt like we were going to have some downwards still in the market. We were sitting at like $107,000 Bitcoin, and I thought we were going to go back down into the 104, 105 range. And anyways, I was wrong. But I think you guys will have a lot of fun tomorrow on the Trader Tuesday. And once again, like at least the one thing I can show you is on my reel. Like these are the Varnell trading systems here. You can see here, I'm up 17%. I'm up a little bit, 4%, up 10%, up 75%, up 241% on this Uniswap. So I'm much better at my Varnell trader system than I am at trading short term with high leverage. But anyways, tomorrow should be an exciting show, and I really look forward to seeing all of you on it. So with that, guys, God bless you. I hope today, was a little bit value, that it touched your heart. And once again, I want to extend this out. If there's any of you watching the show that feel like there's a little bit of a God-shaped hole in your heart, like if you're one of those people that is stressed out and full of anxiety, and you literally honestly can't even imagine telling somebody that you're doing extraordinary because you feel like you would just be lying to them, I'm telling you, God can give you that peace. No God, no peace. N-O-G-O-D, no God, equals N-O, peace, no peace. No God, K-N-O-W, like know God and who he is, and you will know peace. So if any of you ever want to reach out to me privately and have a conversation and ask questions, maybe you were brought up in an environment where nobody believed in God. Maybe you were brought up in an environment that made it very hard for you to believe that God was real. Maybe you believe God is real, but maybe you have this view of God as somebody that's kind of up in heaven and he's shining the magnifying glass down. You know how people will torment ants with the sun and a magnifying glass? I know there's people out there that think that God is like that with us. Like he's up in heaven and he's just enjoying the pain and misery that we're going through. And he's like holding the magnifying glass and shining that sun down on us and causing us to writhe in pain. If that's you, I know I have a friend that doesn't believe in God, or if there is a God, he hates God because his younger brother passed away at a very young age when they were little kids, and his younger brother passed away tragically. And this man, now he's 40 years old and he's bitter. And he's like, if God is real, how in the world could he have let that happen to my brother? So if there's anything going on in your life where you don't believe in God, or you don't think God loves you, if there's just something where you just want to know more, I'm not the most theological guy in the whole world, but I got big shoulders and I got incredible ears, and I am here for you. I am not too busy for any of you. You guys can get in touch with me in DMs anytime you want. You can DM me on Twitter. The links to my Telegram group and to my personal Telegram are in the description, the Discord group. Reach out to me and say, hey, Brad, I want to know more about this Jesus. I want to know more about this God of peace, this God of love. I am here for you, and I would love nothing more than to hop on a phone call, hop on a Zoom, or even just have a text message conversation. if you have any questions about God, I mean, I don't care what it is. If you're a Christian, but you've been in and out, lukewarm Christian, 1 foot in the world, 1 foot, in Christianity, and you're living life, and you're not living the way God wants you to live, and you're living in some sin, and you just want a shoulder, somebody that you can talk to. I promise you this, our conversations are confidential. Our conversations are between you and I. It'll never go to anybody else, not even my wife, with this kind of stuff. It's between you and me and God. So if you ever reach out to me, you have full confidence that what we talk about is just between us. No judgment. Guys, there's things that I've done in my life that I'm so embarrassed and ashamed of that I can't even tell you what they are. I mean, I am not a perfect person by any means. And still to this day, like right before this live stream went off, I was cussing up a storm. I know it's hard to believe. You never hear me cuss on here. It's important to me. I don't think it sends a good message. So there's a lot of motivational speakers out there, guys that I love, like Andy Elliott and David Goggins. I love those guys, but I don't love how they're cussing and throwing out the F-bomb every other word necessarily. But I'm human. I don't even remember what was going on, but something happened that triggered me, and I let out a great big old tirade and cussing. And guys, I'm human, like I got eyes. I'm a man. I got testosterone. So there's times where I look at a woman and my eyes linger longer than they should. I just am better at tearing my eyes away and putting them back on God, putting them back where they're supposed to be. And I ask God for forgiveness and say, hey, God, please help me to view these women as sisters in Christ. Lord, please help me to remember that these are my sisters in Christ, Lord, that these are your daughters. And please help me to have the right thoughts about these people that are coming into my life. I don't want to lust after another woman other than my wife. And so once again, I sin every day. I'm not perfect by a long shot. And when I was younger, man, I was so in the world. I believed in God, and I believe I was saved. I believe I was going to heaven, but man, I was a heathen. And so I just say all of that to tell you guys that I love you. And I'm realizing the older that I get, that this walk with God and this relationship that I have with Jesus Christ is what matters. And yes, I want to create financial success. I want to be able to insulate my family from the world and all of its misery. And I do believe that God wants us to be financially successful and abundant. Talks about leaving wealth for our for generations to come. We're supposed to leave wealth for our children's children. So it is biblical, and it's okay for us to focus on creating wealth. But at the same time, guys, creating wealth and not having Jesus in your life is going to leave an empty void, a hole in your heart that can't be filled. And so I'm talking too much, but this is important, guys. If there's anybody here listening to this that knows they're not right with God and that wants to get right with God, please reach out to me. I love you all. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Tuesday, and we'll have a fantastic Trader Tuesday tomorrow. God bless. Take care.